How did you get over suicidal thoughts? Serious? To be honest, they are still there. I was abused physically and sexually as a child by my stepfather and was told constantly by him that I was worthless until I accepted it. The thoughts are still there, and there are many times that I begin to think about just ending it. But I decided when I turned 17 that I would never let him win. That killing myself was letting the monsters of the world win, and it would leave my brothers vulnerable to him. I am now 28 and have a wonderful understanding wife that knows my history and accepts it. To this day I still have to fight the suicidal thoughts. They are still there and will always be there, but I have an awesome support system and my determination that I won't ever let him win. Sometimes the motivation is what will get you past the idea of suicide. If you kill yourself, then you have let whatever the reason you did so beat you and win, but staying alive and being a better person is the true victory. I do not get suicidal thoughts often, but I still get in dark moods and have started to recognize them. When that happens, I go to the gym or work out for 30 minutes. I never have yet had a failed attempt a couple of years ago, and looking back I'm glad it didn't work out, as I would hate to think about how it would affect my wife. But does not stop me thinking about it all the time. I'm a rare case, but I saw a Tumblr post that was along the lines of, if you die, who is gonna water your plants, feed the fish, play with the dog? Or how will you read THST book you're anticipating, or play that game? I tried it. Although not to the extent where it would have killed me, just enough that it would be extremely detrimental to me for more than a couple of days. At the time I thought I would cop it, but subconsciously, probably knew better. I woke up a few days later from the in and out of consciousness with this unbelievable feeling of relief. A collective 4 months in hospital. Not fun, but it worked. I was living in the dark with depression and I had a lot of demons, to say the least. Then I know about the possibility of the afterlife, and not only that, but if the afterlife is real, the person I want to see more than anything is my dad. So with that slight chance to see my best friend again, I put the gun down, threw away the bottle, and later that night I didn't drive into the tree. Even if you don't know it, there is always someone who cares about you more than you can imagine. Just think of the impact and what those individuals will go through. There is already enough death and hatred in the world. Why be a direct source of pain to those who love you, when instead you can spend many years giving them joy and happiness? After I've gone through a rough period, I look back and think, what was the big deal? When I was having a rough time, I couldn't see anything but my problems. When things got better, I realized that things are pretty decent most of the time. I just lost sight of that. There's a saying, suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. I never really had the strength to push away my suicidal thoughts until I told my parents about my depression. My mother started crying, asking me why I felt that way. And that's when it hit me that it would crush her if I killed myself. I always thought I knew that it would be hard for my parents, but seeing my mother cry at the thought of it just drove the point home. My mother, along with my equally loving albeit more silent father, have worked extremely hard to raise my siblings and me. I can't do that to them. Friend of mine verbally beat me into reality, for lack of better terms. Essentially, I mean that after saying the typical things of suicidal people, they just yelled at me, saying effectively that I was an idiot for overcomplicating everything and that I will one day find happiness after college. They said other stuff too, but I won't get into it. So far, it's worked. I'm alive, of course, and don't really intend to do anything drastic quite yet. We'll just have to see if his college comment comes out true, because if it doesn't, then things won't exactly improve. There was a post of r/Get Motivated not too long ago. It read, "You survived all the bad days so far." Stress. I have a very stressful job managing a part of nuclear plant refueling. In my head there was / no margin for error. In reality there is a bit of room, but not much. I'm lucky to have a best friend who knows how stressed I get and has offered to beat the living crap out of me if I get suicidal again. Brian, if you're reading this, I love you, brother. I recently did a bit of research on suicide and found that in most cases, time is one of the best weapons in preventing it. If you have time to think about what you are doing, and who you'll be leaving, it makes you think twice about finishing the job. So when my last refueling outage came, I got super stressed and actually put a chain and lock around my gun safe and gave the key to my friend with instructions to not give it back until I was done with the refueling. I only had suicidal thoughts a few times and the episodes were brief. Now I'm back to my old self and learning to redirect my stress as a long-time measure to prevent those ugly thoughts. No, I'm not quitting my job. I truly do enjoy what I do, I just get too wound up about being perfect. I don't know if I ever truly got over them, more just learned to ignore them. Been diagnosed with MDD for 10+ years now. I relapse every now and then, but I mostly find distractions from it and ignore the call of the void thoughts. I got a dog. I figured out some plan with what I wanted to do with my life after years of floundering on a failed career path. I stayed in close contact with friends from college. I had SOs to help through the relapses. I threw myself into work. I think personally what helped the most was having a plan and an idea of what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go with life. I always fell back into the void when things were going awry, so having some glimmer of hope that this new thing would be the thing that makes everything better. So far, so good. Good luck to you, Op. Stay strong. Less than 3. Antidepressants really do help a ton. I was at college with a heavy load, and I just wanted to die. But after dropping some courses and increasing my antidepressants to 20 mg, Lexapro, I was feeling a lot better. 2. I made life worth living. I built my confidence as I got a CDA and started driving a school bus. I still have ups and downs, but for the most part, having something to look forward to keeps me uplifted and happy about my life. I thought about the suffering it would cause to my wife, my family, my employer, and my friends. Turns out I'm sad, but I'm not selfish. Who knew? A decade ago I was having suicidal thoughts but also wanted to know what happened at the end of Naruto, so I decided to wait till the manga ended and see if I still felt the same way. The last chapter of Naruto was released over a year ago. I'm still here. It's stupid, but I guess it saved me. I have One Piece to look forward to now. I wish I has a better reason to live. Part of it's dealing with the big issues. The other part is realizing how important the small enjoyable things are in your day and then making sure to include them every day. They are anything small you enjoy. I used to get up earlier and make myself a really nice breakfast and watch some comedy before leaving the house. Used to make sure I met a few good friends for a trivial laugh and chat during the week. When the going gets tough, the small trivial seeming good things matter more than ever and should be held onto tightly. They give you the strength to deal with the hard stuff. I found that it helps when I have someone that won't judge me and who, no matter what, will always want to talk to me if I need. Also, I've realized you just need to take things one day at a time. Sure, some days will suck. But I've made it through worse, so I can make it through this. I've dealt with it enough that certain uncontrollable thought patterns act as big red flags in my head. I know my brain is a complex chemical reaction in motion that sometimes doesn't react right, but bad reactions don't last long. I'll usually sleep on it before I make up my mind about the severity of it. The most recent time it took me about 2 days before I acknowledged it as serious and another 2 before I didn't feel safe. That night I told someone really close to me what was going on in my head, why, and the severity of it. They were blown away, but understood what drove me to those feelings. Usually just admitting to someone what is going on is enough to get me to accept the situation. Accepting it usually will get the thoughts to stop unless I fail to do whatever I need to do to stop whatever is triggering them in the first place. I came up with a saying years ago that has helped me more than anything with this: kill the ego, save the soul. It's not your soul that wants out, it's the ego that we've created to interface with this world that does. As others say, I learned to live with them and made changes in my life to avoid those kind of situations. I've seen how it affects family left behind, having lost 2 close friends to suicide, so it's not something I will ever put my own family and friends through.